Hey everyone, we're here in Sonoma Valley at Abbott's Passage with Katie Bundschu, shooting our spring and summer campaign. She's going to tell us a little bit about the vineyard and winery here, and we're so excited. Thank you so much.
Awesome. I'm so excited to be here. I'm a huge fan of Estelle Glassware and have been since the pandemic days.
Oh, we love that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about you being the 6th generation winemaker in your family and the first woman.
Yeah, definitely. I think, though, our glasses are empty, and so it just is something that is my pet peeve. So I'm going to pour you a little bit of our Sadie Cremant sparkling rosé before we get started.
Wow, that looks so delicious.
All right. I need a little wine in my glass. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers. I grew up here in Sonoma Valley. My family has been here for over 167 years now, so farming is in our blood. Winemaking is in our blood, and it's just something that I've grown up being around and I'm familiar with. It's not something I always wanted to do, but ultimately I'd like to say that I maturity brings wisdom, and I decided kind of early on, but later in my career, that working for my family was really what I wanted to do.
I have noticed that a lot of women winemakers have started coming to Sonoma Valley. Mm-hmm. How is the landscape changing?
Wow, it's changed really significantly in the last 12 years. I kind of say that's the time that I have been back here in Sonoma, and I think it's wonderful. I think that it's just a time when women are able in many fields to be able to kind of have a platform to tell their own story, and wine is a platform for so many people and so many women to be able to tell their story. It's how I'm able to tell my story with Abbott's Passage. It's all about the women that have been in my life. My family's historical winery is Bundschu, which is just on the other side of the valley. And that story has always been about the men in my family. And I really wanted to start telling the story of all the amazing women in the generations that came before me. And I'm fortunate enough to be living in a time where I have that ability and I can to share that story.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, speaking of all your mentors and generations from the past, do you have a specific mentor that helped you guide into this position?
So I would say, in the wine industry, yes, winemaking is so important, but beyond that, we're really a hospitality industry here in Sonoma. And in thinking of that regarding the mentors, I have to say my mom has been a huge influence in my life when it comes to hosting and setting the proper table and kind of understanding just how to welcome people into your home. I didn't understand that growing up as a little girl, why that was so important. My parents, we would host distributors who sell our wine all across the country. We would host accounts of people who own wine shops or restaurants, and my parents would always host them at their house. And so I grew up that way, and I would always watch my mom kind of be just this most gracious host. So she's been a huge role model for me. And then there's just been a lot of amazing other women in different sectors of the industry and not in the industry as well. I did have a career before I got back into wine in college athletics, and that's another landscape of where there's not a lot of females making headways. So I have some great female mentors from that world as well.
That's amazing. Katie, how have you balanced your family's winemaking process with here at Abbott's Passage?
Yeah. It came to me slowly but surely. My family, we're a very traditional, classic wine style at Bundschu. I grew up knowing very much about Bordeaux and the old world wines, and so it's traditional. Let's just say everything about Bundschu is very traditional. And I wanted to do something that was not as traditional here at Abbott's Passage, and something that really complemented the wines that my family already makes, but is also a little bit different that could pique interest of other people. And so I started playing around with blends with lesser known varietals, like varietals such as Grenache, Mourvedre, Syrah, Chenin Blanc, really where people don't have a lot of access to them, but I wanted to be able to bring them in and present them in a way that was accessible and friendly, and just in a way that I would want wine presented to me.
And it's such an attraction bringing so many other people here. They get everything else, all the other wines, the other places, but just so many special wines here too.
Yeah, I would like to think so. Or at least if you're here in Sonoma, you probably taste a lot of Cabernet or Pinot Noir or Chardonnay. And so my thought with Abbott's Passage was trying something that you probably wouldn't try in all of your other trips to other wineries.
Yes, definitely. Katie, can you tell us a special product that means more to you than other wines here?
Well, that's tough to do.
It is. It
your
is.
Favorite wine. But I think one that's really meaningful to me personally is just the Cremant Rosé that I poured in your glass and in my glass, and it's pretty significant. It's the first sparkling wine my family's ever produced in our 167 years of producing and making wine. So I think that's pretty special. The name of it is Sadie. Sadie was my great grandmother, and she was a huge influence on her husband and on the third generation, and a huge reason why my family was able to continue the legacy. So I felt it only appropriate to be able to name this first wine that we made that's sparkling in her honor as called Sadie. And so this is one that's very special to me.
Well, we love it. We love naming our companies and our other products after family members. So it really holds a special meaning to everyone.
Definitely. My favorite part of the winemaking process is that you only get one shot at it. Like, it's not, in winemaking, you can't make multiple wines from a vintage. You get one time to do it, and you have to work with what you have. You have to work with what Mother Nature's given you. And so I just love that concept. I mean, if you think about it, say you are in wine for 40 years, you only get 40 chances to get something right, which I think if you dig in, that's not a lot.
No.
Most people get to try over and over and over again, and in winemaking you don't get that opportunity. So I really like that. I also just really like how I'm a big sports fan, and especially college athletics. And
Yes.
I really like how every fall it's like a new start of a season, and that's the same with harvest. It aligns with harvest as well. So when harvest starts in September, it feels like it's a whole new season that's starting, even though really everything's been happening year round. But it's when you actually start to pick the grapes and the winemaking process starts.
Yeah.
So
how many different types of wine do y'all have here on property?
Well, we grow about 4 different varietals on our property, and then beyond that, one of the beauties about Abbott's Passage is being able to highlight vineyard sites from places that are beyond Sonoma Valley. I think, you asked me a question about, my philosophy is going back to that traditional growing up avenue with Katie Bundschu. All of the wines are estate, so they're from that property. So with here at Abbott's Passage, while we do make a couple wines that are estate, I also love to be able to explore with different vineyard sites that are beyond kind of this property area that we're sitting on today.
Well, your property that is just gorgeous.
Thank you.
We love it here.
I think so too. Thank you.
How do you see the winemaking process evolving in the next few decades here in Sonoma Valley?
Yeah, I think it actually goes back to some farming practices. What is so unique and special about Sonoma Valley is that we're the birthplace of wine. This is where wine started in California, was here in Sonoma Valley. And so we've always been renegades, or kind of at the forefront of a lot of different avenues and curveballs in the wine industry. And one of them recently has been our farming practices. We're a pretty progressive farming community. And when I say progressive, it means that our percentage of vineyards that are planted either biodynamic, certified organic, regenerative organic, or just organic is in tenfolds compared to other areas of Sonoma and Napa even. And so I really feel like the future is going to continue in that world, and that Sonoma Valley, knock on wood, hopefully will be known for not only the birthplace of fine wine, but kind of these farming practices that are just the right way to farm for the future, so that we can continue the legacy here in Sonoma.
Do you have any advice that you would give any women entrepreneurs that are starting in the wine industry?
Yes, definitely. It would probably go beyond the wine industry, but it's really rolling up your sleeves, being ready to do work that maybe you think you are educated beyond or that you shouldn't have to do, but it's really a good way to just get your foot in the door. I think it also is a good way to kind of really understand what you do and what you don't like. I mean, I would just say yes to everything. Like if you want to try winemaking, say yes to an internship. I mean, what's beautiful about the wine industry is it's like a whole little city in its own world. Like if you want to do winemaking, you can do that. If you want to do administration, there's that. If you want to do marketing, you can do marketing. It's so dynamic in terms of skill sets. It's not just one or the other. So just try out anything and then kind of go with whatever you like go with wherever you feel like you are pulled towards. But I would just not say no to any opportunity.
I love that, and I love that advice just for any role in your whole entire life.
I agree.
Well, thank you so much, Katie, for having us.
Thank you.
This is beautiful, and cheers. If you're ever in Sonoma Valley, make sure to come check out Abbot's Passage.
Yes, please, we'd love to host you, and I think we have to dig into this beautiful grazing board.
We have to, yes.
It's just been sitting here this whole time.
Perfect.
Right.